Psalms 27:13. This is what we're looking at. We're talking about sticking with God. Say, I'm going to stick with God. Now, what are the three areas that we stick with God in? Who can tell me? Attitude, one. Boy, Michael? No. Thoughts? Actions. Attitude is kind of like emotions. Our attitude, everyone say attitude. Wow, that was like 6 of you. Everyone say attitude. Everyone say actions. Everyone say thoughts. My thoughts. To be or not to be. Have y'all ever seen that one statue where the guy's like sitting there, and I think he's like booty naked, isn't he, that statue? And he's like this. Weird. But some amazing thoughts happen. How many of y'all have like really great epic ideas while you're taking a dump? Anybody? What about great epic thoughts when you're in the shower? Isn't that crazy? It's because I guess you're just like totally, just like cleaning off, and you're scrubbing everything really good. Remember, scrubbing our toes, scrubbing our armpits, scrubbing everything that needs to be scrubbed, right? We are doing that. But we want to stick with God in those 3 areas. Now, we talked about sticking with God means sticking with 2 things. Who can tell me? God is, who can go in their Bibles to 1 John 4:18, and who can go in their Bibles to John 1:1? I need John 1:1. Zoe got John 1:1. Come up. Who has 1 John 4:18? Evie, you have 1 John 4:18? Oh, I said Zoe. Okay, then Sierra. Zoe and Sierra, come on down. We need a microphone because we've got some church girls who go to church and read their Bibles. All right, please read 1 John 4:18. Y'all be quiet, listen. Turn on the microphone.
Check.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it was like they checked it and then they turned you off. Psych.
Check.
Okay, one more time, blue.
Check.
Check.
There
Cash. Credit. Oh.
There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. But
I apologize. 1 John 4:8.
He who
It was a good one.
He who does not love does not know God, but for God is love.
For God is what? Love. For God is what? Love. Lint rollers. Lint rollers. God is what? Love. Crack sealers. God is what? Love. Miguel, are you all of them? Oh, okay. Bookmarkers. God is what? Love. Wow. Drink coasters. God is what? Love. Bookmarkers. Got it. All right. So, if I'm sticking with God, that means I'm sticking with love. One more time. If I'm sticking with God, that means I'm sticking with love. Oh my God. Okay, good. So we're sticking with love. And does that mean like boyfriend, girlfriend, oh, you're so cute kind of love? Heck no. Tell your neighbor, say heck no.
Heck no.
Tell your other neighbor, it ain't the season.
I don't have another neighbor.
And next, and then say this. Say this. And next season's not looking so good either. Yeah, so junior high, high school. Wait till you get settled. You know what I mean? Ladies, unless he has his own house, own car, not his daddy that pays for the car and covers it, his own car, his own house. Do we understand? His own job. Na. Get a job. You got, and then, ladies, say, and then. Maybe. Because if he doesn't love God with all his heart, will he love you? No. My name is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. Need to let it go. Okay, so God is love. But what else is God? Please read John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
And the word what?
Was God.
What?
Was God.
Okay, so if I'm going to stick with God, then I'm going to stick with 2 things, which is
Love and the Word.
love and the Word. And as a believer, there are perks. Thank you, ladies. Give it up for these beautiful ladies. There are perks. Everyone say perks. There are perks to sticking with God. Now, everybody that has made Jesus the Lord of their life might not enjoy these perks. Why? They don't want it. They don't desire it. They're not really sticking with God. See, sticking with God requires you to do what? The Bible says, Jesus said, if you want to follow me, if you want to stick with me, then what must you do? You have to deny self. Other words, crucify the flesh. Like what I want does not matter anymore. What I feel does not matter anymore. If I'm going to stick with God, stick with the word, stick with love, then what does that mean? I have to deny myself, take up my cross, and then I can follow him. See, not everyone that goes to McDonald's gets a toy in their meal. Only the people that what? Order a Happy Meal. You have to order a Happy Meal. Remember, last night we talked about, where's our balls? Do we have any balls? Last night we talked about how each of the balls have a specific place. One perk to sticking with God is being in the right place at the right time every time. Say, I will be at the right place at the right time every time. Just like this soccer ball. Does it belong? Miguel, you want to shoot it? Does it belong? Wow. Wow, bro. Okay, you don't have to start showing off. Ladies, that's what we call overcompensating. He missed it, bricked it the first time, and then he's got to show off. Let's try one more time. Just shoot it regular. Okay. Wow. Okay, I believe in you, Miguel. Yes. Now, if he was on the court and he jumped in, right? The whistle was blown. He jumped in. The coach said, Miguel, 32, 37. What's your number? I don't know. What would be your number? Your number is, no, what? 10. Okay, 10. Number 10. Get out there. If Miguel was like, oh, yeah, with the soccer ball, he's, would they count that as a score? This is the wrong ball. Do you know that there is a perk to sticking with God? And that perk is being at the right place at the right time every time. Not just for you to pour into others, but others to pour into you. Do you know that God uses people to bless other people? How many of you have ever blessed somebody else? Like you knew in your heart, I need to give them something, right? Well, guess what? God is going to move on other people's hearts to give you something. But if you're like, I'm going to go play basketball, if you're screwing around, if you're not listening to his voice, if you're not sticking to the word, sticking to love, will you be in the right place at the right time to receive? No. Say, I don't want to miss out on what God has for me. See, this is a perk, being in the right place. This goes where? In the goal. Score. You're welcome. Now, here we go. Brandon, go over there. Miguel, you're going to stay right here and catch it. Now, I know that you normally don't throw the football, okay, but we're not going to kick it because there's lights, there's cameras, there's action, okay? So, Brandon. Oh my, give me that. No, give it the basketball. Where does that basketball go? Now, if I tell you, throw it in the field goal. Is that going to work?
Yep.
Is that a point?
No.
No. What are you supposed to do with the basketball? Okay, well then. Hey, and he goes around, and he goes around, and he loses the ball. But he gets it back. He shoots. He double dribbles, and he. We got an assist by Miguel. Hey, okay. That's where it goes. Now this one, let's do this one. Say, I'm going to be at the right place at the right time. But does that just happen because I'm a Christian? No, I've got to stick with God. I have to decide, hey, this is my place. My place is with him. And whenever I'm with him, look what happens. Now you can throw it. Hey, look at that toss. Every time. Good job, Brandon. When I'm with him, every time, what do? One more, and then we're done. Every time I'm going to score. Every time I walk in the victory. Good job, Brandon. So we know that's a perk. Y'all can put those balls on the ground or whatever. That's a perk. Everyone say, that's a good perk. Look what it says in our word, verse Psalms 27, 13 through 14. I'm sure, everyone say, I'm sure. I'm sure now I'll see God's goodness in the exuberant earth. Stay with God. Everyone say, stay with God. I'll say it again. Take heart. Don't quit. I'll say it again. Stay with God. When I stay with God, there are perks. Now, every believer, listen to this, every believer is not going to find themselves in the right place at the right time. Why? Why won't they? They don't desire it. They don't really want what God has. I believe I stand before kids that really want what God has. I want you to raise your hand if you say, I really want what God has for me. See, that's going to require you to stick with Him. What is the enemy going to want you to stick with? Who can tell me? Fear. Ooh, that's a good one. Depression. Michael. Just say it, baby. One thing.
What's it called? Selfishness.
Selfishness. Bree. Sadness. Micaiah. Pride. Ooh. Cam. Sickness. What else is the world going to want you to stick with? So. Wrong thoughts. Right? So listen. If the world is trying to get me to stick with all this, what do I know that's going to bring? If I stick with what the world has, what is that going to bring into my life? Victory or defeat? Defeat. Defeat every single time. Defeat. Just like the stinky feet that Ryan had, you know what I'm saying? Defeat. It's going to bring defeat. But say, I was created for victory. So we're talking tonight about perk number 2. So perk number 1 was what? I will always be where? At the right place, at the right time. Perk number 2 for sticking with God is, are you ready for this? Security. Everyone write down security. Not security, security. No, not that kind of security. Go in your Bibles to Isaiah. I'm going to be reading it from the Message. There's a place of security. There is nothing worse, say nothing worse, than a believer, Isaiah 41. Say there's nothing worse. Everyone say there's nothing worse. Like it's the worst thing. You just got the worst news and say there's nothing worse. Oh, there's nothing worse. Right? There's nothing worse. Everyone say it. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a believer that is insecure. There's nothing worse than a believer that is insecure. Why is there nothing worse than a believer that's insecure? Why should a believer never be insecure? Sasha? They don't know their place. They're vulnerable. But what am I a carrier of? I'm a carrier of the presence of God. Say, I'm a carrier of the presence of God. See, God called me worthy to be His ambassador. God called me equipped. God called me chosen. Grace, 1 Peter 2:9, a royal priesthood. He chose me. And look what this says in Isaiah. Isaiah 41, I'm going to read 8 through 10. Follow along in your Bible. This is the Message, or you can look on the screen. But you, Israel, are my servant. You're Jacob, my first choice. Say, I'm God's first choice. I'm God's first choice. You know, I remember whenever I was in elementary school. How many of y'all are in elementary school? All of you. When I was in elementary school and it was like sports time, guess what? I wasn't. That's so rude. Who said that? How did you know? Okay. No, I was not. I wasn't the first choice. How many of you have ever been like, it's like you're the last of the last. And you're low-key hoping that one kid is at school today because he's always the last. Anybody with me? Okay, maybe it's just me. That's fine. You can imagine my story as your story. But there's nothing good feeling about not being picked. How many of y'all have ever auditioned for something, or maybe some of you boys, you tried out for a position on a team and you weren't picked? Anybody not ever been picked? Oh, what about this one? This is the worst. Okay, almost the worst. What's worse is a believer that's insecure. But what about when all the people around you are invited to the party and you're not? Anybody been there? It's like, wah, wah, wah. Right? You're not. But here's the thing. That can create some what? Some insecurity. You can begin to question, well, I'm not good at this. You can begin to compare yourself. But see, when you stick with God, you realize that you are His first choice. Are you His first choice because you're super athletic and can throw a football like really awesome like Brandon? Yeah. No. Are you His first choice because you're just like so pretty, like, oh my gosh, like you're so pretty? Is that why you're His first choice? Are you His first choice because you have like a house and it's like super pretty and I really like your house? No. Are you His first choice because you have like, oh my gosh, your Heelys are the best Heelys in the world? Are you His first choice? Are you His first choice because you have like the prettiest yellow bow? Evelyn has a really cute yellow bow. No. You're His first choice because He created you, He loves you, and He has a plan for your life. So you're His first choice. There is something that you're called to do that, guess what? No one else can do. And that should make you very secure. But the enemy is attacking believers' security. What are some ways the enemy comes against our security? What does he get people to do? Michael?
He gets them to start going to wrong parties and get them all insecure.
Yes, going to wrong parties, giving in. But what else? What does the enemy do? What is he attacking right now major in the world? Briley?
Oh, confusion.
What? I didn't hear what you said. Confusion, right? He doesn't want you to be secure in who you are. He wants you to think that if you're a girl, you should probably be a boy, right? He doesn't want you to be secure. Zaylin, what else? How is the enemy attacking Zaylin, baby, over here? Security. Oh, Miguel has one. Drugs, right? He can get you trapped in drugs. If he can get you to question who you are, then you will not do what God's called you to do. But when you just stick with God, Sasha, what's another way?
Using other people to compare to.
Using other people to compare to. Y'all, when you stick with God, you realize I'm His first choice. And what I was created to do, no one else can do. Do you think if someone else could do what you were created to do, you would have been created? No. You know, it's just like all of the things that they've invented. If there was already something else that could do it, would they make something else? No, we've already got it, right? It's like sometimes whenever it's like you have this amazing invention and then someone tries to invent it again. No, bro, you didn't invent it again. It was already invented, right? See, God created you for something very specific that no one ever born before or ever born after you can do. It's so specific. And one of the perks of sticking with God is being secure in that. Y'all, you don't have to look a certain way to be used by God. You don't have to have a certain amount of money in your family to be used by God. You have a dad who owns cattle on 1,000 hills, who walks on streets of gold. He has you covered. And this is just a perk to be completely secure. So look what else it says. It says, you're my first choice. Say, I'm His first choice. Descendants of my good friend Abraham. I pulled you in from all over the world. If you're talking, you need to stop. Leaders, I need you to help me. Jackson, stand in the back, baby, and you're watching to make sure they're not talking. I pulled you in from all over the world, called you in from every dark corner of the earth, telling you, you're my servant, serving on my side. I've picked you. If you're taking notes, I want you to write that down. I've picked you. I've picked you. Say, God picked me. And because God picked me, there's something specific that I need to do. There is something that I need to complete as a part of the family of God. Just like right now, I'm so glad that my pinky toe is completing its job. Do you know if I didn't have my pinky toe right now, I would be falling all over the place. My pinky toe is keeping me balanced. I am so glad that my heart is doing what it was created to do right now. Because if my heart stopped beating, I would not be able to speak this message to you tonight. I am so glad that my lungs are doing what they were created to do. See, my heart cannot do what my lungs were created to do. My pinky toe cannot do what my ears were created to do. If I lose an ear, when Malchus lost the ear, remember the servant Peter got all excited and was like, no, don't take Jesus, and cut his ear off? That's like some major precision work. Do you understand? Number one, to cut the ear, but I guess I'm sure he had some major metal right here that stopped it, but literally just sliced his ear. It was a really close shave. I bet all on this side the beard was gone too. Sliced his ear. Did Jesus say, oh, Malchus, thou hast lost an ear. Give me your toe and I will put it there. No, what did he say? He said, give me the ear, and then he put it back, smacked it on, and it was and it stayed right there, and it was working perfectly, and he was what in the world just happened? Complete shock. See, my toe can't do what my ear was created to do. If I lose a hand, I sure as heck am not going to cut off my foot and put it on my hand. It's not going to work the same, right? Why would I do that? Because my toes can kind of grip because I got them long toes, you know what I'm saying? But it's calm down. But it's not the same. There's parts in my body that can only do that one thing. Every part of my body. It was created to do something specific. You were created to do something specific. And if you don't find yourself sticking to God, instead of doing what you were called to do, you'll compare and then you'll get jealous. And then you will step out of what you were created to do, and then things get weird. Almost as weird as this. It's like you want to go swimming, okay? All the pools are open. You can go swimming. And instead of just getting in the vehicle and going swimming, you come up with this idea and think this would be a cool swimming pool. Take a look at this. That is weird. That is not a swimming pool. You go, listen, you stand on the edge of that pool and dive, you're done, right? If you just barely stand up and one of your brothers and sisters or your cousin or whatever comes over and pushes you, you're like, you're off the truck. This isn't a pool. This is weird. But listen, this is what happens to believers. That instead of sticking to God, they start comparing and try to be something that they're not. See, you can't change your skin color. You can't change your eyes. You can't change who you were born to. You can't change any of that. Do you understand that? You just have to know, God, I was created, just like Esther 4:14. I was created for such a time as this. And because I'm a part of the family of God, everything else does not matter. The only thing that matters is that I'm a part of a spiritual, godly bloodline. And that's the bloodline of Abraham. And that means I have all I need, I have a place, and I'm equipped to do all God's called me to do. But if you don't stick with God, things get weird. Just as weird as that swimming pool in the bed of a truck with a tarp. It's like, bro, just go to the pool. How much more fun is a swimming pool? Like when you're in the swimming pool, you don't have to keep looking back and make sure you don't smash your head on the concrete, right? Like you're just in the pool and you're just swimming. Do you think on the truck you can go sliding? No, you go sliding, you're gonna slide right out, right? You open the bed, you open the truck bed, think, oh, this will be awesome, this will be the slide. All right, then there goes all the water and your pool is completely ruined. You get on a floaty in that truck bed, you're gonna float right off the edge of the thing, right? But in a swimming pool, just like whenever we went to the thing, pools are not for floating. We're just floating, we're just chilling. Do you think that if we had a truck pool, imagine Alex and Kai grabbing Titan, swinging 1, 2, 3. Y'all, Caden for sure would have gone over the truck and landed in the grass. Do you understand? He wouldn't have even made it in the pool. But that's what happens. Things get weird. Look what it says. It says, I have picked you. I haven't dropped you. Listen to this. Don't panic. I'm with you. There's no need to fear. Well, but you don't know who my parents are. My mom didn't pick me. My dad picked somebody else. My grandpa did this. Something happened here. But guess what? I picked you. Regardless of anyone else that says anything else about your mom didn't pick you, your dad didn't pick you, guess what? He picked you. And so because he picked you, then I can be secure. I can have security. I don't have to have issues because people around me didn't pick me. Because I chose Jesus, I picked him, I said, God, I believe in what Jesus did, then I can be secure. Because if I don't find my security in him, things get weird. And when I stick with him, I'll be secure. Because where are my eyes? When I'm stuck on him, where are my eyes? They're on him. Things don't get weird. It's kind of like this. Now, how many of y'all have ever taken a dump before? Ever taken a dump? A dumpity-dump-dump. How many of y'all have ever, let me see if I can do this. You know when the water turns color because you put the little blue thing that cleans it? So is this normal? No. Is a toilet to drink out of? No. I'm going to have to get rid of some of the straws. This is like major working on my, what is that called when you're working on your, I don't know. I can't suck that good. Oh, good job. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit smaller. It's like a little bit of pine salt. Is this what a toilet is for? Listen, this is how believers get. They start acting like someone that they were not created to be. They start dressing like somebody else. They start, oh, well, that person's doing that, and that makes them a lot of money. Oh, that person's doing that, and they look really cool. That person dances like that, and they look awesome. That's not what you were created for. Listen, you cannot compare yourself to somebody else. Well, they get all of this, and they have all these followers, and everybody's their friend. Who cares who their friend is? Who picked you? God picked you. And because God picked you, you find out from him, God, who am I? Have y'all ever played the game Guess Who? You need to sit down with the Father and say, God, show me who I am. What am I called to do? Because I don't want to be somebody else, because then things get weird. Just like this toilet is not a drink. Do you understand? But that's how believers act. What about this? I have this piece of wood. Let's see. Now, these are screws. Is this what this is for? What about this? That's not what it's for. Miguel, will you help me? I need to get it out, and I don't want to touch it. Just hold this, yeah. Oh. Okay? That's not what it's for. Well, then what? Maybe this. Will this do it? You think it's going to explode? What about this? Duct tape. Stuck on you. Let's see. Maybe this. Now listen, all of these things are awesome. Like Powerade is awesome, but it's just not used for this. Toothpaste, dear Lord. Come here, Miguel. Just kidding, I'm kidding. You don't have bad breath. This is awesome, but it's not used for this. Duct tape, hello, is awesome. Look at your borrowed Bible. Decorated Bible. Duct tape is awesome, but is it used for screws? No. Listen, you're awesome, and there's something specific that you're supposed to do. And if you don't stick with God, you're gonna get weird, and you're not gonna accomplish what he has for you. You have to find your security. That's a perk. I can be secure in him. If I'm supposed to be out in the business world, running a business and sharing with every customer that comes in the love of God, then I'm going to be secure in that. I'm not going to compare myself to someone that's preaching on a stage or someone that's traveling in missions. I'm going to be where God's called me to be. But you have to find yourself sticking with God. Y'all, if you don't stick with God, you will compare. And you'll try to be something you're not. Now this was created for this. Let's see if it works, if it screws through. Oh, I think I pounded it so much. Let's try it over here. Ooh. Did y'all see that screw? Thank you. That's what it was created for. Like, this was created to screw something into the board. Yeah. Now I want you to notice, what did he say? He said, I've picked you. See, sticking with God, there's a perk. Everyone say, I love perks. A perk is that you can be secure. No matter who looks what way, no matter how you look, where you came from, what color your skin is, how much money your parents do or do not have, you can be secure. You can be confident. Why? Because what does it say? I've picked you. I picked you. And you have to tell yourself, no one can do what God created me to do. Because if someone else could do it, then I wouldn't be here. If someone else could do it, I would have never been born. I was created because there's something that God has me to do on this earth. And it's up to me to stick with him and find out, God, am I toothpaste to clean people's teeth? Am I Powerade to keep people hydrated? Am I duct tape to fix everything that's broke because my dad can't do anything else but use duct tape? Am I a drill to drill stuff? Am I a heel? Hello. To work them feet, right? To work them calves. Am I a toilet to take a dump in? Or am I a cup, a drink? What am I, God? The only way you find out who you are is from God. See, people that aren't sticking with God, where do they find out who they are? From Pinterest, from YouTube, from Instagram, from Snap. And they're like, oh, I want to be like that. Oh, I want to be like that. No, I want to be who God created me to be. Because sticking with him, there's security. Now, we've got one more thing here. Now, this is definitely something. I want to make a grilled cheese. And this is hot. Is this hot? Yes. It is? It's to me trash, basically. Now, was this iron created to make a grilled cheese? Why not? It's hot. But it's hot. Listen, here's the thing. If I'm not sticking with God, things get weird. Ooh, let's steam it. No, it's even better. Say, I'm going to stick with God.
I'm going to stick with God.
Y'all, because when I stick with God, I'm not going to be weird. Yeah. You know what I'm going to be? I'm going to be secure.
Yeah.
No matter what I look. If I have 2 buck teeth and a crooked eye, I'm going to be secure. You know why? What does it say? Put it up again. I've what? I've picked you. So I'm not comparing my teeth, my skin, my hair, my body to anybody. You know why?
Because
he picked me. So I'm going to be sticking with him. Yeah. Because he picked me and my crooked teeth. Whoa. Hey, guys. Does this look anything like, hey, Miguel, go ahead and let's do this in the real one. Like juicy. Let's do 2 cheeses. Put it in that and let's see if it turns out a little bit better. Now, what was this actually created to do? Make a banging grilled cheese, y'all. Grilled cheese is my favorite food. Oh, it's starting to look a little bit. This is so gross. What is it? Anybody need their shirt ironed? Now listen. Making a grilled cheese this way is what? No. It's lazy. It's weird. Is this how a grilled cheese is supposed to be made? No. Listen, you're not supposed to live your life like somebody else. Now, there's going to be leaders, there's going to be people that the Bible says you follow through faith and patience, but you're following their life of faith. Just because you're following me as Choose Life Kids and I'm your pastor doesn't mean you're all going to be pastors. Do you know what it does mean? You're going to hear his voice and obey one day at a time. That's what that means. You're not following exactly what I wear. If you like what I wear, then you can go buy it. There's clothes everywhere. Everything's trending. We all look the same. Everyone wore Heelys. Everyone wore Crocs at the same time. We're going to look kind of similar. Do you understand? Because we're family. But I'm saying you're not mimicking or you're not imitating somebody just because you think that what they have is what you want to have. I want to have what God wants me to have. I want the life that God created me for. Because anything else, y'all, it's weird. It's weird for people just to do something. Oh, well, I saw so-and-so do this, and then I saw so-and-so do this, and they got this. Y'all, that's what the world does. We're carriers of the presence of God. We have a relationship with God. And whenever you don't stick with him, then you get jealous, you compare, and you walk away from what you were created to do. So while our grilled cheese continues to grill cheese, I want you to take a look at this story of Saul and David and notice how instead of sticking with God, Saul stuck with performance and began to compare and get jealous. Take a look at this.
The miracle of mercy. David and Saul. This is David. David was a shepherd who lived in Israel. David was chosen by God to be the next king of Israel when he was just a boy. But David had to wait a very long time until that promise would come true, because there was another king of Israel named Saul. Saul was strong and tall and looked like everything a king should be. But Saul did not follow God like he was supposed to, and for that reason, God chose to take the kingdom from Saul's family and give it to David's. David became a great warrior. And everyone in the kingdom loved David. This made Saul jealous, and Saul hated David because he thought he would try to kill him and take the throne from his family. So Saul wanted to kill David.
Whoa!
Saul hunted David, but he couldn't catch him. One day, Saul heard that David was in the wilderness of En-Gedi. So Saul gathered 3,000 of his skilled fighters and went to find and kill David. During Saul's search for David, he went in a cave to relieve himself. Well, this very cave was the one where David and his men were hiding. And when David's men saw that Saul was unaware that David was there and unable to defend himself, they said, "Now's your chance, David. This is God telling you that he will give you your enemy to do with as you wish." So David crept forward and cut off a piece of Saul's robe. But then David began to think that it was not right for him to take Saul's life. For no matter how much hardship and difficulty Saul had caused him, it was still not right for him to hurt the one who God had placed over Israel. So David told his men to back off, and he did not let them kill King Saul. They waited until after Saul had left the cave. And then David ran out of the cave and shouted after Saul, "My king! Why do you listen to people who say I am trying to harm you? Look, I cut it off, but I didn't kill you. This proves that I am not trying to harm you and that I have not sinned against you, even though you've been hunting me." David went on to promise that he would never harm Saul. David said that God would be the one to protect David and to rescue him from Saul's power. Saul said, "Is that really you, David?" And he began to cry. Saul said, "You are a better man than I. You have been amazingly kind to me today, for when God put me in a place where you could have killed me, you didn't do it. Who else would have done this? And now I realize that you are surely going to be king, and the kingdom of Israel will flourish under your rule. But promise me that when that happens, you will not kill my family." So David promised that he would not hurt Saul's family, and they left each other in peace. Now Saul continued to cause difficulty in David's life. But David kept his promise, and in time, David did become king of Israel. David was dearly loved by God, and Israel did flourish under his rule because David did everything that God wanted him to do, and he was a man after God's own heart.
Notice what it said at the very end. David did everything that God wanted him to do. See, David didn't take the role of Saul. David was just David. But what did Saul do? See, Saul was the king, and he asked David to serve under him. So as the king, it's like when the soldiers win, the king wins, right? Just like when the basketball players on the team, when they win, who else wins? The coach wins. Was the coach on the field or on the court? No, but he still gets the win. So instead of King Saul just saying, you know what? I'm the king. I've picked these guys that are going to fight. They're going to kill a bunch of people. He began to compare himself. Anytime I compare or I'm jealous, am I sticking with God? Am I sticking with the word? No, because when I stick with God, I go back to that one phrase in Isaiah 41. I've picked you. I've picked you. You have nothing to fear. I've picked you. Yeah, but she's prettier than me. I've picked you. Yeah, but he's got more money than me. I've picked you. Well, yeah, but she can sing and I can't sing. I've picked you. Well, but they can dance and I can't dance. I've picked you. Well, but they live in this kind of house. I've picked you. Everyone say, I've picked you. See, and whenever I stick with God, then I'm secure. Then no matter what he tells me to do, no matter where he tells me to go, I can do it. Why? Because I've got him. I'm secure because I stick with God. That's a perk. Well, I don't know why you're so confident. How are you so confident? Where does confidence come from? Looking a certain way? Having a certain amount of money? Y'all, all that's subject to change. Confidence, security comes from sticking with God. And y'all, listen, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do things right. Oh, look at this grilled cheese. Wow. Yum. The cheese is almost perfectly, the cheese was almost perfectly melted. Why? Because I didn't do it. And did you see how toasty it was? I didn't do it on an ironing board. Is an ironing board designed to make grilled cheeses? No. Listen, Ryan was not created to do what Bella was called to do. Now, there may be some people that have similar calls, right? There's a bunch of different pastors, evangelists, but y'all, no one can do what you were created to do. And when you stick with God, you'll be secure. You won't compare yourself. You won't try to be somebody else, because when you try to be somebody else, you look weird. You look weird. Just like the straw drinking from the toilet. That is weird. That is not normal. Just like the heel being used to put in a screw. That is weird. Just like the iron being used to make a grilled cheese. That's weird. Say, I'm going to do what God created me to do. We have to reject comparison and reject jealousy.